Have you ever wanted to make your own VR game? It's actually not that difficult. Most of the tools you need are built into Godot, and with no code, you can have your very own VR game set up in as little as 20 minutes. All right, so let's get into it. I've got a new project open here in Godot version 4.4. And I'm going to go to, I believe, project settings. We'll go to plugins. And I got to find this plugin manager. Oh, asset lib, actually. It's up here. We got to download it first, and then we can enable it. So we're going to search for XR Tools. If you click asset lib right up at the top middle, we're going to search XR Tools. And so I'm going to click Godot XR Tools for Godot 4 and also the XR Input Simulator. So the reason we need an XR Input Simulator is because it takes a long time to put your headset on and link up to the computer and run it. And if you're going to be working on a game, you're going to be testing little things all the time. So the input simulator is almost not optional. So we'll go Godot XR Tools for Godot 4. I'm going to download that. Install it. Yeah, XR. So this is, yep, exactly, Godot XR Tools. So we'll hit OK. And it does all these failed to load script, blah, blah, blah. Those are fine. It fixes itself, is what I found. So we'll go XR Input Simulator is the next one we're going to download. So I'll just download Input Simulator. And I'll install that one. Okay. So now this project and this project only is set up for VR. So the next thing we need to do is just make ourselves just a basic, super basic scene. Just to be clear, you should have these two things in your add-ons folder after you've installed them. To make this happen, we're going to use the Godot XR Tools plugin, provided to you completely free on GitHub. So I'll include the link to this documentation in the description, and pretty much everything that we're going to cover and more is included in this documentation. It goes over installation, how to get the Godot XR Tools repository into your game, how to set it up. It goes over the core concept, kind of how VR and room scale works. It goes over all the features, and it includes a bunch of pre-baked movement providers that don't require you to write any code at all. So you could have a fully functional VR game where you're smoothly walking around, rotating using the joysticks, climbing with your motion controllers, jumping, teleporting, even walking on walls without writing any code at all. Okay, so now that we've installed these add-ons, what we need to enable the plugin. So I'll go to Project, Project Settings, and I'll go to the Plugins tab and just enable that Godot XR Tools plugin. And we'll go ahead and close that. The next thing I want to do is I've got a new 3D scene here. So I've got a nice little empty scene, and I've named my node root, and it's just the root node. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to add a mesh instance 3D node to my scene. And I'm going to go ahead and assign that to a new plane mesh. And this is just going to give me a nice little surface so that it kind of looks like I'm standing somewhere. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another child node, and it's going to be a world environment. And you'll notice your skybox changes, and that's because the world environment is now going to be overriding the default. So we're going to make a new environment over here in the inspector. And we just click directly on the word environment inside the dropdown. And it's going to open up all these other options that we can select. And for now, the only one that I am going to mess with is the background. And I'm going to use a sky. And another dropdown will appear called sky. I'm going to open that one up. I'm going to create a new sky by clicking on the word empty in these brackets. You'll see a dropdown and it'll say new sky. So we're going to do that one. We're going to click on the word sky and it'll open another dropdown material that gives us the sky material. So I'll click on that and I'm going to do a new procedural sky material. This is going to look exactly like it looked before you applied the world environment. And if you open up this dropdown, you'll be able to edit the color of the sky. So for me, it's just fun to kind of be able to pick my own colors, especially in just like a little test game like this. Make the sky a little bluer. Maybe do kind of a sunset thing. Looks pretty good. I'm going to copy this hex and I'll put that in for the horizon color as well. And for the ground, I'm just going to do something like that. And I'm going to save this scene, and I'm going to call it my test XR toolkit. All right, so if we go to the setup page of the documentation in the XR tools, there's a lot of really helpful stuff in here. I mean, pretty much if you just read this from top to bottom, you'll have everything you need to go with it. But if you're not so much of a reader and you like to follow along, let's keep working. So they include this simple scene the way the project is supposed to function. So I'm just going to go ahead and create this structure inside of my own game. So, and I'm just going to start creating that structure. So I'm going to start with an XR origin 3D. And I'm going to add an XR camera 3D as a child of that. As a child of the XR origin 3D, I'm going to add an XR controller 3D. And I believe the documentation wants you to say underscore left and underscore right. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just underscore left. And I will control D to duplicate and rename that to right. All right, very cool. So there are some things that need to be assigned, some upset warning signs here. So XR shaders are not enabled in project settings. Stereoscopic output is not enabled. So we'll just go ahead and go into our project settings and fix that. So we'll go general. I believe it's in rendering. Let's see here. What is it? Maybe shaders, shader compilers. Let's see. XR shaders enabled. Okay. Well, I'm going into project settings. Some of this stuff can be a little bit hard to find at first. Let's see. Oh, XR shaders. So it's this XR dropdown, and we'll just enabled. Okay. And the changes will be made applied to the editor after restarting. So I'm just going to save and restart. And here we are. That warning is gone. No tracker name is set. So tracker on the left controller is going to be the left hand. And the tracker on the right controller is going to be the right hand. All right, very cool. So with this set up, we pretty much should have the basics of an XR scene. But let's check the documentation to see if we missed anything. Oh, here we go. We missed something. So looks like you'll also need to add some code to initialize the XR plugin. I believe I wrote some code in the first game that I made to initialize the scene, and I'm just going to go ahead and share that here, and I'll also put a link to a copyable version in the comments or in the description. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test our XR toolkit. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it, and you'll notice when I run it from the PC, if I don't have a VR headset on, I can't do anything. So now it's time to go ahead and turn on the simulator. So first, I noticed that the ground is not underneath us, which kind of bothers me, so I'm just going to move it down. Then I'll go to Project, Project Settings, and I'm going to go to Globals, and I'm going to go to Auto Load tab, and I'm going to choose Path. I'm going to select a folder, and I'm going to go to my add-ons, XR Simulator, and then the XR Simulator.tscn, the scene. Don't just load the script. It won't work. And it's going to say node name XR Simulator. That's fine. And I'm going to choose the add button. I will close. And then I'm going to try to run this again. And as you'll notice, for now, all I have is just my view. So I don't have hands, and that's a problem. So let's go ahead and add some hands. So let's go ahead and make it so we can see our hands. That's going to increase immersion tremendously. So all I'm going to do is just add a child node to my left controller, and I'm going to make it a mesh instance 3D. And then I will just duplicate that and put it under the right controller as a child of the right controller. So each of these mesh instances will need a shape. So I'm going to make each of them a sphere. And I will make them a 0.1 radius and a 0.2 height. Maybe that's even too big. We'll do 0.05 for the radius and 0.1 for the height. And same thing here. So I'm just going to say 0.05 for the radius and 0.1 for the height. And there we go. So now we've got two spheres, and they're just kind of here. But if I run my project, you'll see if I hold Q, I can move one hand, and if I hold E, I can move the other one when I move my mouse. So I hold Q, my left hand moves, and I hold E, and my right hand moves. So that's how you use the XR Toolkit simulator. So you could start working on a VR game even if you didn't have a headset. I wouldn't recommend it because there are some things that are just extremely difficult to test in the simulator, but it would get you started and it would give you a good idea of whether or not this would be something that you could work on, whether or not it's worth it to get a headset for this type of a thing. Or, I mean, what I typically use this for is I do a lot of testing where I don't really care to play the game in VR. I just want to know if this one little piece of code is going to work. And the simulator is great for that because I don't have to put on my headset, go through QuestLink, and hit the play button through my headset. However, when you do want to test the game with your headset, all you have to do is connect to your computer with your headset and get it so that you can see the desktop and just click the play button here and the game will automatically take over your headset. So there you go. That's it for this video. I hope it was quick. I hope it was informative. And as promised, no code. That wraps it up for this video. In our next video, we're going to be talking about movement providers and how to get your character moving around the world in VR. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe.